roads going nowhere, unfinished stands, and an awful lot of construction work still to do. Half of Brazil's 12 World Cup stadiums missed the deadline to be ready. At one point, FIFA said Brazil needed a kick up the backside as relations between the governing body of world football and the game's spiritual home were sorely tested. And there have been a total of 7 deaths at World Cup stadiums, including Manaus, where England play their opening game. Brazil says its critics are paternalistic, even colonialist.
It's not a good plan to try to limit the right to host major sporting events in the world to a small group of rich countries. That doesn't reflect the reality of the world anymore in the 21st century.
But there's a different message coming from the streets.
The World Cup and the money being spent on it has stirred up some deep divisions in Brazilian society. Most Brazilians would consider themselves football fans, but many of them are deeply unhappy about the amount of money being spent on the tournament. And we've had these regular "Não vai ter Copa" protests. That basically means there will not be a World Cup.
The government's determined these minority protests will not be allowed to disrupt the tournament. One reason for the public anger is the long line of promised infrastructure projects that are going nowhere. Late or abandoned schemes across Brazil, part of what was meant to be a wider World Cup vision.
The World Cup was a terribly wasted opportunity for Brazilians to really materially improve the lives of people in cities. And so we haven't used the World Cup as an opportunity to do that. And so Brazil has lost the World Cup.
The scale of what remains is clear inside the opening stadium. Construction workers test the pitch as their colleagues work around the clock on the unfinished stands. The mission accomplished banner is premature, but as usual here, it'll go down to the wire. Willow Davis, BBC News, Sao Paulo.